Hey, welcome back. Our last time we had glued all of these sides down and we weighted them. So now we're going to unweight these. And those should be pretty well set in there. And there we go. So these are all in nice and solid. They're not going anywhere. What I'd like to do now, because the next part of this is we're going to put a roof on this liner. But before we do that, I want to clean the track inside here before we go too much further, just to make sure that we start out, when this is all covered up, it starts out perfectly clean. So why don't we go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're going to cut the roof for the top of this. And the roof is going to serve two purposes. Number one, it's going to cover the top of this. It's going to cover the top, it's going to connect into this mountain here, as well as sort of cut into this area here. So let's start by getting some more of the pink foam, which I have here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up. I'm going to cover some of the top of this, but not all of it. So I'm going to cover about half of that. And what I want to do is I want to draw a line underneath to follow the line for there and right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the lines straight across. And we'll cut that off and I'll come back when I have it cut to fit. Okay, so I've got the top cut. And we're going to fit this on top. This is going to go like this. It doesn't have to be exactly the edge of this because our mountain is going to come all the way out here. But we do want to cover this up as solid as we can get it. So the next thing we need to do is I have to notch this top right here so that it fits down inside. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to need, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this. Cut a small notch right there. We're going to notch it back like this. And then we're going to do the same on this far end. So those lines there are what we need to notch out. Just like that, okay? And then that's the top of the tunnel. Now, when I was talking about this before, what I had said was I didn't want to paint the inside of the tunnel black. And here's the reason why. Okay, so when you look inside the tunnel, the dark of the tunnel creates the black, but when you actually look inside there, we have the concrete look to it, so it looks like concrete, but it is dark anyway, so that's why I did it like that. We're not going to worry about these gaps right up here. We're not going to worry about these gaps in here. When we start backfilling all of this, those will get taken care of. So right now what we need to do is glue this top piece down. So let me get my stuff and we'll get that glued down. Like that. And we'll throw some weights on top of that. Alright, now our tunnel is closed in, and when that dries we'll take off the weights and we can start carving the foam and get this stuff put in. I'll start forming this mountainside. This goes in like this, and we have to backfill some of this area here, and we don't really want to cover that full out with Sculptamold or anything like that. It would take too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill that with foam. But I think first I'm gonna mount this in here so it doesn't fall out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small bead like that. So I ran a bead down the bottom and the back side. And we're going to use that, and we're going to put that right in here like this. Just like that. Alright. And now I'm going to do the same at the top end with that one, and then we can start filling in the bottom half. Okay, so that's that. So now what I want to do is I want to fill in back here with foam, and we want to fill that kind of high, and then we're going to cut it back afterwards. So we only need small pieces in there just to fill it. So we're going to take stuff like this. We're going to kind of glue that in here like this to kind of backfill that in. And like it does not have to be pretty at all. We'll fix that later when it dries. Okay, so that'll fill out like that. And then, excuse me, and then when this dries, we can actually work with this, and we're going to carve all this back and kind of make it look like something. And now we'll come work up at the top end. Okay, so now at this end, we have to do the same thing as the other end. And we're going to fill up all that void with scrap pieces of our foam. Alright, so that stays like that. Now we're going to call that done for now, and we'll come back later when this dries up and we'll start carving the foam. So we'll talk to you a little bit later. Alright, so now all of our caulk is pretty well dried, so we're going to take the weights off. And we're going to start carving this foam back a little bit. So here's the idea of what we're doing. Okay, so we'll call that the rough carve right there. So now you can kind of see how we're going with it, and then we'll backfill in some of that with Sculptamold. So now we'll move over to the other side. Okay, so here we go with the mold, the Sculptamold. This is what it looks like. It's just like a paste. It comes dry in a bag, and you just mix it up with water. And we're going to take that and we're going to squash it all up in here. Okay, now we'll do the same to this side. Alright, so that'll go kind of like that. Now I think at this point we're just going to let this dry up. It's probably going to be a few days, so we'll end this video. We'll end this video at this point, and we'll pick it up next week once this is dried up, and we'll move on from there. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you back next time. Bye.